Tonight, and I would like to now call this special meeting of Kimberley City Council held here at McKim Theatre on the homelands of the Ktunaxa peoples to order. First item of business here is to accept a number of late items, basically correspondence that we've received in the last couple of days. Could I have a mover to adopt? Councillor McBain, thank you very much. Councillor Karen seconds. Any opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Next up is adoption of the agenda, and that is that the agenda for this meeting, this special meeting of council be approved. Councillor Royer moves and Councillor Karen seconds. Any opposed? That motion is carried. All right, this is a remote, it is a city council meeting, a formal city council meeting being held here remotely at McKim School tonight. And just before we get started, if everybody, obviously the exits are where you came in, and we have exits over to either side here, should you need them. And the washrooms, I believe, are just out left and just down the hallway here, should anybody need those as well. Awesome, thanks, Troy. Okay, this public hearing is being convened pursuant to Section 464 of the Local Government Act in order to consider the proposed bylaws 2732 and 2733. We will be hearing submissions in person in addition to the numerous written submissions that have been received to date. And if you have a written submission in hand that has not already been submitted, please provide to the corporate officer, Maurice, on my left. And in fact, we have a bin right at the front of the stage that you can deposit what you have. This meeting is being recorded and will be available later for viewing on the city's YouTube channel. We had some issues with the environment here for being able to broadcast live, so the recording will be available as of tomorrow morning, I believe. Please also note that there is a hearing tomorrow, Wednesday, June 28th, for council to receive submissions via telephone. There's no option to attend that particular session in person. Call-in details are available on the city's website, kimberley.ca, and in the public notice section. We want to make sure that we cast a wide net and make an opportunity for absolutely everybody to be heard. Any person who believes their interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaws will be given an opportunity to be heard. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. There's a sign-up sheet, or there was a sign-up sheet in the foyer for those who wish to comment on the proposed bylaw. I have the sheets here, and we'll call for speakers by announcing the name and assigned number in the order from the sign-up sheet. So as you signed up, that order will be the order of the speakers this evening. When your name and assigned number is announced, you should step forward to, one of the microphones, either on your right or your left. And I will call at the beginning 2 people so that as one is finished, we'll be able to go to the other, call the number down for the next person so that we can move forward in an expeditious manner this evening. So once at the microphone in the front of the stage, when prompted by the chair, begin by clearly stating your name and address, and then present your comments. You'll be given 3 minutes for your presentation. We only have a few hours this evening, and we want to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to be heard. Scott, on my right, will have a series of cards, a green card that he will show when you have 2 minutes left, a yellow card when there is 1 minute left, and the red card when time is up, and we would ask you to please be succinct in stopping comments at that time.
How would somebody get on the sign-up list if you've got them all? If there's other people, will you call for others to speak?
The sign-up sheet, I think everybody passed it. Did anybody miss? Is there anybody?
Available in the foyer too. They can go back to the
There is a sheet?
Yeah.
Okay, there is a sheet available in the foyer should anybody wish to sign up at this time. Thanks, Troy. Members of council may ask questions for clarification during your presentations. In other words, if it's unclear what the point was you were being made, a council member may ask a question, but the main function of council members here this evening is to listen to the comments presented and not debate the merits of the proposed bylaws or any of the comments presented. During the course of any public hearing, people sometimes tend to become a little over-enthusiastic or possibly emotional, and regardless of whether you favor or oppose a particular comment or position, please refrain from any expressions of emotion. Restraint enables others whose views may or may not coincide with your own to exercise their right to express their views, and enables all views expressed to be heard in an impartial, as an impartial forum as possible. And after all, this is Kimberley. Once the public hearings are closed, members of council cannot take any further input regarding the proposed bylaws, and after the public hearings have concluded, council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representations made at this hearing. So thank you. That's kind of the lay of the land. Appreciate your patience as we work our way through this evening. And we will begin with a brief overview of the bylaws and then call for submissions from the gallery. So Troy, can you give us the overview, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, Council is considering an amendment to the official community plan bylaw 2600 and zoning bylaw number 1850 that is affecting the properties located at 1006 304th Street and 361 315th Avenue in Marysville. Proposed bylaw 2732 proposes to amend the property's official community plan land use designation from industrial to commercial, and bylaw number 2733 would rezone the properties from industrial, wholesale, and transportation M1 zone to the proposed commercial service CS1 zone. The amendments are proposed to accommodate a highway commercial retail center that includes restaurant with drive-through service, car wash, service station, and general retail uses.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much, Troy. So just before we begin the verbal submissions, we have had a number of written submissions that have come in late, as you heard at the beginning, when they were accepted as correspondence, and all copies of correspondence that late or otherwise have been provided to council. As I mentioned, if you have any additional written submissions, please deposit them in the bin that we have at the front of the stage. So just to repeat, each presenter will be given 3 minutes for your presentation. I will call for presentations 3 times before the close of the hearing. So if I could ask card number 1, Bruce Wilson, to come to one of the microphones, and Emma Barassa, card number 2, to take the other. And we will start with Bruce.
So good evening, Mayor McCormick and council members and good people of Kimberley. I want to give a little bit of background about me. First of all, 30 plus years in the oil and gas business. I left that industry to take my own direct action on climate change, which I believe is the single most critical challenge that we face in the world today. My position is that there should be no rezoning of this parcel or any of the other parcels in that particular tranche of land. For me, this is about the ambitions of the city. It's not about a restaurant. It's not about anything. There is nothing wrong with retail and commerce. But this is really about the ambitions of the city and how it sees itself. When we look at the city's character, we're a mountain town. We have a certain way of living outdoors, and there are tourists coming to our town, but there are also people who are attracted to this town because of the way life is lived here, the opportunities, and there's a certain ethos about it. And I want to ask you all, as we have this debate this evening, what is your vision for Kimberley? What is the long-term vision for Kimberley? How do we wish it to change? And very much in the context of what I chose to do, I founded a startup business in renewable energy storage because I believe that that forms the core of economic opportunity. And so when we think about the challenges and the opportunities that are presented to us, there is this opportunity to develop businesses and foster those businesses and attract them to the city, businesses that are focused on developing economic and climate resilience. And along with that, there are opportunities for meaningful jobs for younger people. Our younger people are the future. They are they run the risk of being underfulfilled in this location if we can't find the opportunities that will offer them growth and leave the city. We have the opportunity to create a secure and resilient future here. Not only that, create jobs for younger people. When we talk about entry-level jobs, it's not just about going to a restaurant and how you develop through that. There is better opportunity for younger people in the kind of jobs that will give them growth, a long-term trajectory, and this is what we've got to be about: creative solutions and a master plan for light industry. And as I close, with deep respect to the City Council and the fact that you are elected to undertake work for us, you must not ignore the opinions of the people gathered here this evening. So I do urge you to do that.
Thank you very much. So just before Emma speaks, could Kathy Murphy take the microphone on the right, please? Go ahead, Emma.
Thank you. I have a question, actually. Where can I find the list of the social, health, and reputation costs to Kimberley, particularly the approximately 170 kindergarten to grade 3 children and the planned daycare, of 148 children, 318 young citizens of Kimberley? So what are the costs of a zone change to these 318 young citizens of Kimberley? And what I mean by a cost would be losing that industrial land, which, as Bruce has just explained, is a better use of their potential or their parents in terms of a livelihood. So the question again is, where do I find the list? Is it posted somewhere?
So we'll take that back as a rhetorical question, Emma. The purpose of the hearing tonight is not to ask or respond to questions, but to hear what it is you have to say. So we'll make that note and we can follow up later.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Cal Harvey. Go ahead, Kathy.
I don't know. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Here we go.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Murphy. I'm going to read this so I can hit all my points. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I've made Kimberley my home for 42 years, coming here in '81 to open my chiropractic practice. I've witnessed many changes in that time frame. In my business as a chiropractor, I observed episodes of significant economic decline in the community from various challenges, some of them being 20% interest rates, lengthy strikes at the mine, big box stores opening in Cranbrook, and years later, the mine closure. Through these times and others, many commercial buildings were standing vacant or partially vacant. The 70s Bavarianization of the community and the creation of the Platzl took Kimberley in a new forward-looking direction. This has made it the vital focal point for the community's economy. These amendments being considered, if approved, in my opinion, have the potential to erode the existing businesses in the Platzl, surrounding commercial spaces, as well as significantly impacting the existing businesses in Marysville. They all contribute to our existing tax base. The trained professional city staff in our planning department prepared a lengthy 7-page report for Mayor and Council recommending they vote against proceeding with these zoning amendments. They strongly advise that this is a departure from our OCP and our current zoning. In addition, as a member of the Watershed Advisory Committee to the city for the past 18 years, I recognize the challenges we face to provide a safe, secure water supply and the ability to treat wastewater. The health of our watershed needs to be considered in all zoning decisions. What pressures will rezoning put on our existing supply and capacity to treat, given our planned wastewater treatment plant is designed for 9,000 residents? We need to fully understand this before making a decision. Our mayor and council are elected and expected to take advisement of experts, listen to the knowledgeable citizens, gather information, and make prudent, well-informed decisions based on data and facts. Data relating to environment, social, and economic. At this juncture, I believe we do not have enough data to make major decisions in overall direction for our best little town in BC. In light of the lack of solid information to support the amendments, the business community of Kimberley and Marysville have come together to request an impartial third party to conduct an economic impact assessment to examine the ramifications of this new commercial district. This afternoon, I delivered 103 business signatures to City Hall in the form of a petition requesting this assessment. The business community has spoken with clarity, and they need to be considered in the process. We are a community that is well-loved, unique for a multitude of reasons, and progressive. It's imperative for us to make decisions for our future from a reflective, considerate, and well-informed position.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Sherry Kearns, please. Go ahead, Cal.
I suspect they're not going to cheer for me. Mr. Mayor, 3 quick comments on the rezoning application currently before council. We're about to be inundated with tourists coming for the long weekend, and consider for a moment what they're going to see when they arrive in town. Behind the great big red "Welcome to Kimberley" sign, they're going to be greeted with garbage scows full of scrap metal, and flatbed trailers, and an empty warehouse, and a dilapidated moving and storage facility. There is a reason why best planning practices encourage the screening of industrial lands behind commercial developments. They're gritty, they're unattractive, they're necessary, but they don't make a great first impression. I think we need to acknowledge that Kimberley has a surplus of industrial land, but our inventory is skewed. We're lacking some commercial, and in order to rectify that, I would strongly support council in approving the current rezoning application and creating an additional commercial district. Kudos to previous councils who created the industrial land inventory that we have. That's awesome, but again, we have enough. It's time to consider rebalancing our inventory. No business, no community that stocks just one item is going to be very healthy for very long. Second point is, given some of the petitions circulating in the community, I think it's important to note that council's job is not to approve or disapprove individual businesses. If you're pro-business, you support all business, not just your buddy's business. If businesses want to invest in Kimberley, pat yourself on the back. You've done a good job. From there, it's up to us as consumers to decide which businesses we want to support and which we don't, and we do that with the dollars we have left over after we pay our taxes. And one final note, CBC observed that McDonald's has built restaurants in 16 small communities across British Columbia. I checked this morning, and all those communities are doing just fine. None have been smitten from the face of the earth. We have lived with Happy Hans for 50 years, and I'm sure we'll get along with Ronald McDonald just fine. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cal. Lee Dowd. Go ahead, Sherry.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and our friends here. I would like to reiterate the importance of the OCP, the guiding document for our community. It's not meant to sit on the shelf and get dusty, rather to be used as a tool to help us all make a decision. This high-level document defines who we are as a community, and this is what we are trying to remind you of. It's a well-thought-out document, including zoning and sustainability. Most importantly, it takes into consideration our values and vision of Kimberley to support local initiatives. The role of you, as our elected officials, is to take advice of experts, rely on data to hear from the public. Hearing from the public tonight is important, but I also hope you're taking into consideration what the masses of people across all sectors and all ages are saying. But what's missing is the data. Discussion is needed at the council level and to pay attention to the experts. Let me ask, How much discussion was there with council on the planning department staff report from February 13th? How much discussion was there on the report from May 29th after the Ministry of Transportation was added to this report? How much discussion did you have in between those reports? That's 3 months. The only information we have available is the staff report, which is gathered by the city planning experts. This is a good start. Can council please gather more information from third-party experts on financial impacts to existing business and also to long-term sustainability of rezoning our short supply of industrial land to commercial before any decisions are made? The info we have available right now does not support this proposal. In the best interest of the entire community, please do not make pressured or short-sighted decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Kevin Rempel, pardon me, to the other mic. Go ahead, Lee.
Hi, thank you, Mayor, Council, Administration. I'm the owner of Marysville Storage and the applicant in the lands here. I'm here to express my support for this land use change from industrial to commercial. I'm excited to be investing further in this community. I think it's a wonderful community. It's a great city. It's seen a lot of growth over the recent years. Similar to the gentleman speaking previously, I think it's a great opportunity to improve the entrance into this city. As mentioned, there's a metal scrap yard, now a vacant auto dealership, self-storage site, outdoor vehicle storage. And this is a very highly visible corner. It's highway fronting. Yes, it's zoned industrial, and I would agree that industrial lands often are not how you enter a town. This is a valuable corner. It's highly visible. I think there's an opportunity to do something better with this, and I do think that commercial use will bring a lot of activity, investment, and further employment to the lands. Currently, on these lands, over almost 2.5 acres, we employ 0.5 of a person. With the land use change and the uses permitted under that, the plan is to have over 80 jobs created on that site. That's significant. Currently, there's gravel roads. We look forward to making improvements to that road. We have been in dialogue with Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure to make improvements also to the intersection by lighting and further things as we further discuss that. Regarding the OCP discussion, that is something, as there's our industrial lands, we did have the discussion about perhaps with administration having additional uses added within this industrial zoning, but it was a discussion that we further decided just to switch to a commercial, more of a highway commercial land. But we did appreciate the OCP and tried to work with that. I submitted a document for council and mayor to review, and that was a document that states my discussions with the neighbors. I spoke to 100% of my adjacent neighbors. With 1 minute left, I probably won't name all their addresses, but council and mayor, you have that document. And 100% of my neighbors from a full 1 block over were incredibly supportive of this land use change. They're very excited to see activity investment in this community, in that spot. I should note that not one other person here or anyone contacted those neighbors to see my adjacent neighbors, how they might be impacted by this. I was the only one to call them. Once fully developed, I believe this site will be the 2nd largest commercial tax base in the city of Kimberley, next to the Save-On. It'll also employ over 80 people and greatly improve the entrance to the community. I'm excited for the opportunity to invest further in Kimberley, create greater employment, increase and diversify the tax base, and maximize the potential of this valuable highway fronting land away from a 0.5 employer. Thank you very much for your time, Mayor and Council. I'll take any questions if you have.
Thank you for the comments, Lee. Corinne Gamma. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members and residents of Kimberley. My name